Carey, please?
Let me see if he is here. May I ask who's calling?
Joseph Barton, B-A-R-T-O-N.
Okay, you're an attorney?
No, I'm representing myself.
Okay, are you just looking for the status of something, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, what's the docket number of your case?
103820.
Okay. Let's see. And you're calling about the motion that's pending?
Yes.
Okay, that's only returnable today. It doesn't get handed down the same day it's returnable.
Hang on, it's erroneous motion.
Excuse
No,
me?
I wanted to be sure that there was two motions there. One to get permission to file a pro se brief, and the other was to dismiss all charges. But I had sent a letter to Mr. Carey stating that I didn't want to dismiss all charges. That motion actually wasn't a motion. It was me informing the court of what I intended to do. So I wanted to make sure that the court didn't rule on to dismiss all charges, because I didn't put court cites or with it to back my motion.
Okay, so do you want to supplement to the motion now?
You want to talk to Carey?
No, I sent a letter to Mr. Carey asking...
Saying that you were withdrawing the motion, or?
Yes, that I was withdrawing that motion.
Okay, well, I will put a note in here that says that. Hold on one second. Do you know when you sent it?
The 12th.
Or the date of the letter, even?
30th of August.
The 30th of August.
July.
I mean July.
I was going to say, wait a minute, that's a trick question.
Yeah.
That's a trick. You're tricking me now.
30th of August, of July, I'm sorry.
That's okay, 30th of July. Okay, so I'm just going to write this down here. Barton called to advise he sent a letter dated 7/30 withdrawing
On or about.
the motion.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not withdrawing the motion for the pro se brief.
No, right. I'm going to make sure I clarify that. Hold on one second. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. So motion to dismiss.
Right.
Charges.
Right. I want to withdraw that.
At this time.
At this time.
Right. Okay. At this time, I got you. At this time, does not still wants to proceed. Proceed with
The pro se brief.
with pro se supplemental. Okay, you got it. No problem. I wrote it all down. So.
Excuse me. What's your name?
My name's Ann Tilton, Tilton.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Just hang on. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Ethiopia.
Better come close.
Come closer.
I'm from Ethiopia.
I have to stand next to him. Okay. Yeah?
Was military government in Ethiopia for several years, for 17 years. He led the country with the power. Like in Asmara city, he got like 150,000.
Let him tell the story.
They got 150,000 people in the city, but he got like 100,000 soldiers. People cannot do nothing. They don't do change. He controlled with the power. And again, he started killing people like pregnant women. This is going to be against us because there is guerrilla fighters. He thought to himself he did like that.
Excuse me. Sorry.
And after a while, in 1985, because of his power, he controlled all the city. Nobody got right. Nobody had changed nothing. So people died by hunger. A lot of people died by hunger. World AIDS, Red Cross, Catholic Mission, UNICEF, all this, they come for help. They help the people. They save a lot of people, but a lot of people die because they cannot make it because the born out people, when they eat the food, he kill them like poison.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And most of them they save. And in 1985, his politics come down because the government, he cannot do nothing because he do wrong, he must move. They move him the World AIDS. And after, in 1987, he start war. Instead of give up, to go work for the peace, make change, he don't give up because he need to do whatever he want. He want to control the power, and he keep going, and he start war. He kill a lot of civil people. He throw
Who is
bombs.
this that did all this killing?
His name is Mengistu Haile Mariam.
What's his name?
Mengistu Haile Mariam.
Okay.
He was from the South Ethiopia, and he killed King Haile Selassie. He get the kingdom is with the power. And this guy, after he do all shit, he start war. He start killing people in 4 parts of Ethiopia, from Eritrea, from Tigray, from Oromo, from Afar. They go against him and they fight him. Like he got 10,000 soldiers, he cannot make it. Like 1,500, 2,000 people die, and like 2,000, 3,000 injury. The rest they give up. Like 7,000, 6,000 they give up. And with a short time, in 1990, his politics over. And he ran with the dollar to Zimbabwe. With a lot of money, dollar, he left all the country with the darkness, and he ran. That's his history. That's the history of Mengistu Haile Mariam. Now we have civil governments. He comes from the guerrilla fighters, but he make it a civil government, and he give right to the people to move in and out, to all the outside countries, America, Germany, whatever. If you can go to school, if you can go to work, you can go. You have right because you have choice to work. If somebody sponsors to you, you can go. You can work. You can go back to your country. And like citizenship, they can go see family for 5 years. Before 5 years, you expire your paper, and you can go back. And that's it. This all has happened. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Joe, what's going on here? What's happening here?
It's a TV commercial.
It's a what?
Television commercial.
A television commercial?
Yep.
For who?
For Talbots, Tina Talbots.
For Talbots? And what's going to be happening?
It's kind of a journey through time.
It's what?
A journey through time. Yesterday was all 50s, and today is like the 70s.
Did you know that in Gramercy Park they don't allow filming?
They do if you pay enough.
They do if you pay enough?
Yes, they do.
Who exactly do you pay?
I don't know.
Is it the Department of Transportation?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Because a lot of the people in this neighborhood are a little bit resentful.
I know. I live in this neighborhood.
Oh, you live in this
Yeah,
neighborhood?
oddly enough, yeah.
Oh,
I live
really?
Right around the corner.
And so, is that why they picked you for the job? Keep it in the family?
No. It just was ironic that we ended up here, you know?
Are you in the union?
No.
Oh, you're not?
No.
So this is like an independent commercial?
They're all in the union.
Oh, you're not in?
No.
Oh, you're just a passerby?
No, I'm a creative director.
You're the creative director.
Yeah, for
I
advertising.
see. Well, how do you...
We're not in unions.
You're not in
But no,
unions?
but the crew is
The
all.
creative people?
Yeah.
I see. So, because there's a lot of problems right now with Verizon. All the employees are on strike, but all the film people seem to be happy.
Film people seem to be happy.
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody who's in the union. Ask one of these guys. I really don't know much about it.
This guy? Who else is? Who's in charge of the whole thing? Who's in charge of the whole thing?
There's a few people in charge.
Okay, well I'll just stand by.
Huh?
Thank you.
A pink shirt.
Why don't you? Can you speak about what's happening here for public access?
Yes, we were making a commercial for Talbot's.
For Talbot's? And who is the company making the commercial?
I'm not sure.
But they're hiring union? All the union people, except for the creative people? Do you know what it costs to hire?
No,
or to rent the place, take people right away? People in the neighborhood are getting a little annoyed that they live in a Hollywood set. Do you have any comments on
Yeah,
that?
I live in New York and I live in a Hollywood set too.
Does it bother you?
No.
It's because you're in the business. Would it bother you if you weren't?
It doesn't bother me when the telephone company comes and puts the line in, when they repave my road, when, you know.
But what if the telephone company pays for the privilege of putting the line in and the people who are actually inconvenienced never get it? I mean, is there anybody here that can tell me what it costs?
Thank you.
Is there anybody here that can tell me what it costs?
No one's going to tell you.
No one's going to tell me, okay. I'm for public access television and I wanted to ask questions about what's going on.
I don't want to be on the TV, sorry.
Who can speak on behalf?
Sorry.
This is Paula, Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. I live in Gramercy Park, and right now Gramercy Park is a very popular place for commercials to be made, for movies to be made, and you're allowed to take the public's right of way if you are paying enough. So I'm not paying enough because I actually live here.
Can we get off the street, please?
You're telling me to get out of the street?
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
It's dangerous for me to be in the street?
Yeah, see there's a car behind you?
Okay, I'll come over here so it's not dangerous for me to be in the street. So you can see it's a big production here. A lot of these people are union. And what's happening is New York City is becoming a tourist destination. That means as a tourist destination, it's valued for entertainment. But a lot of us who live here feel there's a lot more happening in New York and we should have other economies besides the entertainment industry. So, let's see what happens. What are you filming for? What are you tourists?
We are from where are we from?
Are you tourists?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Spain.
From Spain? Are you enjoying yourself in New York?
Yes.
Okay.
How long are you here for?
10 days.
For 10 days. Then this is the first time in New York?
Yes, the first time.
What's your favorite part of New York?
What favorite part?
Like, have you been to the Statue of Liberty or have you seen Ellis Island?
No sé, ¿nuestra parte favorita? Battery Park and South City. Downtown.
Downtown you like?
And Central Park.
Have you heard of Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty? To
Yes.
take the boat? Have you seen?
Yes.
Have you been?
Yes, we have been.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. Ellis Island is showing all of the people from other countries that made America what it is because we have so many cultures that are represented. So thank you.
Thank you.
Pictures up!
Okay, not too late because I'm going to be heading upstate around maybe around 3, 4 o'clock.
Ready and action!
Well, you know, if it's important, I'll handle it.
Good.
Have to do a lot of takes for professional television, unlike public access where you're shooting from the hip. But this is a big issue of mine. I'm wondering where all of this money is going, and I'm suspecting it's going through the Department of Transportation. The Department of Transportation has replaced the Department of Treasury. Apparently, I think, according to Gene Keating, we haven't had a Department of Treasury since about 2004, and the economic implications are tremendous. The amounts of money that are being exchanged in this day and age when so few people are having jobs that are actually related to producing something, as opposed to trading junk bonds, and even in the case of the mortgages, it turns out that mortgages, when we think we're getting loans from the bank, that money pays whatever amount we think we're borrowing from our own accounts that were set up when the United States went bankrupt in 1933. Now, Robert Ashford tells me that there's bankruptcy and there's bankruptcy. So maybe when it's accepted by everybody, then, you know, whatever notes they pass around, whatever notes that are passed around are debt notes. And if you accept those debt notes and everybody else says it's okay, then it spins. But it turns out when you go to the bank thinking that you're borrowing from them, they're actually dipping into your account that was set up at the time of birth when your mother signed you over to the state with your birth certificate. That allows 7 years later for some corporation to claim you only because you're ignorant. You don't even know that this is happening, and it comes out of your own account, so you're the creditor. Imagine if M&N had stuff like that. Again and again and again, thousands of dollars are paid for just minutes of an advertisement. And of course, it all revolves around the star. She's under a lot of pressure. But my question is, they're paying for the public's right-of-way. Now, how does the public get what they're paying for? And who is he working for? If you had some differences of opinion, would you be going into a constitutional court? Or would you lose your jurisdiction and be in a commercial court, dealing in a privately held investment corporation? Each court has a Dun & Bradstreet number. So what are the implications of this? Since nothing is happening in front of my building, except that it's being used as sort of a makeup set or a place for people to wait, I can't say much. And so far as I know, my co-op wasn't paid any money for this. And I'm sure if they were, they wouldn't pass it on to any of the shareholders. But that's an entirely another issue. What we're trying to figure out today is how our economy is arranged, what people's perception is of the arrangement versus how is it actually operating. Okay. We're making an ad for Talbot's. They're giving me some wide berth because I think they're realizing that the public is getting mighty upset with being in the middle of a Hollywood set and having that set rented out. And when that set's rented out, where does the money go? This is something that we'll be searching for in the future, because as an owner, theoretically, in Gramercy Park, I'm wondering if I can benefit in any way from ownership other than having been bamboozled into becoming a tenant, or, never having left tenant status, except that when they dumped rent control and moved into the shares and co-op situation, they were able to raise the maintenance. And everybody thought, well, yeah, but I'm an owner and I'm going to get my value when I sell the apartment. But people shouldn't have to sell their apartments in order to get value from it. And they have all these restrictive rules. You can't sublease it. Constantly we're seeing this posted on our streets. And the real people are the ones that are making up the culture, and that's something that then gets sucked up by commercialism, consumerism, because they want that energy of the reality. So today we're going to get the backroom story on making ads, and the amounts of money involved in all of that, and who gets it. Some time back I was up in Lake Placid and had the opportunity to talk to a big designer. Actually, I'll tell his name, T. Dalton. Very interesting guy, had a lot of energy, a lot of creative ideas, kind of wild ideas. He liked hanging with us because we're sort of, free-thinking hippies. And he used to actually do business a long time ago with some dress designers in Berkeley, California called Sweet Potatoes. And neither he nor I could remember the names of the two ladies that started it. He had some interesting idea about actually putting a label on somebody, tattooing it on, and giving people $1,500 or so, and figuring that it would take $3,000 to remove the tattoo. And I said, oh my God, T. Dalton, do you realize that some of these labels, brands, whether it's Ralph Lauren or T. Dalton, are going to be seen in the bread lines? Would you really like that association? And he thought, oh, just for the few people in bread lines, it's worth it. But I said it's a type of slavery when you mark somebody, and people go into this willingly. They buy clothes that have a label on it, and it's an association with something, that has prestige. And so his idea, and I commend him for free thinking, and I'd like to dialogue with him more about it, is to actually put a label directly on people. Now, I thought you could take poor people and give them money for putting the label on, but if people are really, find labels groovy, rich people could put them on their body, and then the amount of money that they spend for that label could then be put into a charity that's going to be doing good works for the struggling masses. So you can see that what's happening here is great effort is being made to produce commercials that will then uplift people to live in kind of a dream world, a fantasy world. And all of this illusion and dream employs a lot of people. But the reality is everybody in this area who can't afford to live here, as it gets higher and higher, the maintenance, supposedly because you're an owner, goes higher, but none of the owners ever get any kind of benefit, and eventually are obliged to leave. They sort of take their profits and cut out, and what that does is it retards the natural development and the culture. It starts to be away from common law, from due process, equal protection. In the housing courts, they don't feel very sympathetic because they say, well, you own a co-op, just sell and move on. But if you've lived for a long time and you think it's your home, it's very shocking that you're obliged to sell just because you can't pay maintenance. Now, in other parts of the country, it's called taxes. And people with property taxes are obliged to sell their places, or it goes into foreclosure or a forfeiture. and you give up your property. So it's a way of converting private property into the hands of the government. And this is something that our founding fathers understood when they set up the Constitution, that it was always going to be an issue of special interests trying to kind of finagle, connive, plot, and conspire so that they profit off the backs of the masses. And what I'm trying to illustrate here is that the people who actually live here and who are making this a charming place are not in any way benefiting. Probably to find out who benefits if these high prices are paid to the city of New York, who of course is broke because of bad management, because of bad politicians allowing, being in the pockets of whoever's benefiting. We would have to find out who the shareholders are in the incorporated city of New York. Now, I'm suspecting the Department of Transportation has something to do with it, but we'll find out where the cash flow is going that's allowing for these fabulous, operations and commercial making to be done, and how they employ the police to make sure it goes off without a hitch. There's my husband, Joe Barton, who, by the way, is not allowed into Manhattan Neighborhood Network studios because he gave a few puffs of marijuana to Bert Aldridge, who was the medical marijuana wheelchair patient that we had. He was a poster boy for a marijuana policy project until he got busted. He called them up and they said, "Thanks for telling us, we'll take you off the website." So they don't do anything when you actually need something done. And what he needed after, my husband, compassionate Joe Barton, saw that Bert Aldridge, after shooting 4 shows and we were going on to the 5th, he was in such convulsions. His legs were jumping, his arms were. You could see he was in pain. Joe gave him a few puffs of marijuana, and scientifically you can understand why it would work. And of course, some people smelled it. There became a big brouhaha, and Joe took the bus, and he's not allowed into Manhattan Neighborhood Network studios anymore. We're still trying to figure out what to do about this because we feel that the marijuana laws are unconstitutional. If that's true and you can get it established that they're unconstitutional, that means anybody that's cooperating is aiding and abetting the enemy. And so the question here is, when money is being exchanged, is it being exchanged under the jurisdiction of our Constitution? Because all of the privately held corporations are franchised under our Constitution. And so that means if rights of the Constitution promised to the people are in any way compromised, that franchise should be lost. Has to figure out a way how to survive and be really vital and really be something that's giving information to the community that's going to help make the community a better place. Yeah. You make your ad, I'll make my movie. People know something's a little off, but they're all grateful here. Most of these people are union people, that they have jobs. So because they have jobs, they don't want to rock the boat too much. I mean, take a look at this equipment. It's ungodly expensive to do stuff like this. And this is what we public access producers are competing against. And we never had access to know who was watching our shows. We never could see what the ratings were. Ugly George, who had the show Hits and Misses in the 70s, when he kind of got cable TV rolling, would get women to take off their tops just for a spoof, just to be on cable television. And everybody thought it was so horrifying, but it was also free speech. They were promoting free speech. And so a lot of people would tune in saying that they thought it was smutty and, not in good taste. But eventually, even John Lennon and Yoko I think they were together. Ugly George actually has some footage of them complimenting him, saying how much they liked his show. The thing is, he was just, you know, sort of a young artistic guy who got a hold of a camera, and in the early 70s public access was happening, and that's how Ugly George got launched. But Ugly George was responsible for getting people to pay for television, because when cable television first started, it was thought that nobody would want to pay for television. And they said, well, yeah, but if you pay for our television, there's not going to be any ads on it. And then it was sort of thought would be about $5 a month. And when they were trying to get the city of New York to pay for the cable to be laid under the city, they were making a lot of promises about what would be happening for people, and that it wouldn't be that expensive. And he would eat his hat if it was. And Harold Channer went up to him and said, you know, I've got a hat here you might be licking your chops over. And he sort of laughed, and today we have cable at $100 a month, and a lot of people having to shut it off because they can't pay for it. Probably, see, these are some of the cars that they're going to be using in the shoot. Again, Gramercy Park today is owned. Gramercy Park is owned by whoever bought the privilege of marching around here with all of their union people, all of their equipment. What did they pay the city of New York? And when they paid this corporation, Incorporated City, who exactly are they paying, and what exactly is being done with the money? It was pointed out by my husband Joe Barton when they were talking about the government and regulation of marijuana, that look at what happened with the mafia running numbers. It was considered immoral and so bad. But he said the mafia, when they said they'd pay $100, they'd pay $100. When the government got involved in lotto, ostensibly to be giving the profits of this gambling to the schools, we should have the best schools in the world if it was a function of money, and yet we don't see that. And a stretch of the imagination. And he says, and then government taxes you. So if you win $1 million from lotto, you're going to have to pay 50% in taxes. And so his claim is, who is scamming who? Here's one of the vintage cars we're going to bring around. You know, I think they would have chased me away long ago, but they saw that I was pretty concerned, being somebody that actually lives here. And again, see, nobody's telling me to move. Isn't that great? So public access and free speech works. Look at how everyone's scrambling. Molly Cheshire works in this business, so she'll understand what's really going on. But she often told me that for broadcast TV, you pretty much calculate on the low end something like $100 or $1,000 a minute. This obviously is going to be much, much more expensive to get these ads out.
Do it themselves.
Do you live here?
No.
Oh. Do you live here? Do you live here?
Sorry.
Do you live here? Are you a tourist?
No. Tourist.
Are you a tourist? Where are you from?
Spain.
Can I put you on television?
Hey, television? No.
we had somebody else from Spain.
Yeah.
Are you liking New York?
Yeah, of course. It's
And
a
what's
lovely place.
And what part is best that you like the best?
Well, we've been here only for 2 days, but
For 2 days?
Times Square and Chelsea is lovely.
Have you seen Ellis Island and Statue of Liberty?
No, not yet.
Please do.
Okay.
Every time I go, I cry.
Will
because
do.
my grandmother came through there, and you know, America's made up of everybody.
Yeah.
Many Spanish
Okay,
people.
Okay.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Can I take a few comments for public access television?
Okay.
Do you like this, what's happening? Do you live in the neighborhood?
No, but I'm supposed to work in that building right there.
And you're having trouble parking, huh?
I just got here, just found out about it.
All right. It's an ad for Talbot's.
Oh,
But a lot of people are concerned they don't know who's being paid for the people's right of way.
I know, right? And that's the whole neighborhood, right?
I know. The whole neighborhood's locked down. We're in a Hollywood set. Welcome to Hollywood.
Hey.
Joe said I don't ask questions in a way that will get enough information out. I show my hand too quickly. But I am upset, you know, when I see the condition in New York and how everybody has to pay, and yet the people who actually live in New York who can't afford to pay, leave. And so you actually have an entire churning even of the population. Instead of allowing the population to grow organically and naturally, imagine renting all these different cars and then all the models.
Okay, no, we're gonna go back this way. Oh, okay. Thanks. You're welcome.
I think people are hoping they'll be in the ad.
Yeah, they just blur all the like people out.
You should be one of the models.
Yeah, I like doing my job.
Are you what's your job?
Production assistant.
Production assistant. How long have you done it?
This is my 5th month.
And they're treating you well? Are you in the union?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
I'm actually working on getting in the DGA training. Just the Director's Guild.
Great.
So, yeah.
Any word for New York? Public access
television? Are you filming?
Yeah, now's your chance. What do you have to say? What do you think New York should know?
New Yorkers should actually know that if you like to watch television, you should respect the space when we're filming.
Right. To make your job easier, and then the thing will come off flawless. But this is an ad, right?
Yeah, well this is a commercial.
A commercial.
Yeah, they may do some print, but I'm not sure yet.
They sure put a lot of energy into a commercial, don't they?
Oh yeah, a commercial takes a lot of... Oh, sorry.
Sorry. What do you think of all of this?
You asked me when I was sitting in the
I know,
car.
I thought. So you found a parking place,
Yeah.
huh?
Fortunately, I have somebody sitting in the car down there.
Oh, they have to sit in the car in order for you to get your job done?
Exactly. Nice to see you. Take it easy. So what public access is this going to be?
Manhattan Neighborhood Network. It's on Community Affairs. Comes out at 12 noon every day. And I just like to kind of get the pulse of the community.
Interesting. This is your own show?
Yeah, farther down the rabbit hole.
You do everything, you produce it,
the whole works, yeah. For sure, nothing like this. I mean, look at the kind of cars that they have here. And,
yes, I see. As a matter of fact, I thought it was a movie because I saw the old Dart over there.
I was hoping there's some way that whatever they spent to shoot here would offset my fabulously high maintenance.
Yes, you live on Gramercy Park.
I live in this building.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you like the building?
I love the building. I don't like how I'm being treated by the board, you know.
How long have you been here?
10 years.
10 years. What's your name?
Paula Gloria. What's your name?
Ken.
Ken.
And I've been doing plumbing here for 20 years.
You have? Really? And what do you think about the pipes? Are they lead? Somebody said because the building's so old, we have lead pipes and we're going to be like Rome. We're all going to go crazy.
No, you know what? The the building was renovated, I would say 35 years ago. It went through several stages of renovation, and it's all safe. Although you know there are tests that you can perform. They make a little it's kind of like a crayon that you can just wipe on the solder joint and see if they use lead solder or or silver solder.
Wow, you're a gold mine here. I heard that Gramercy Park had some kind of gas explosion many years ago. Is that way before your time?
It was before my time, or let's put it this way, it was in the beginning of my working career, so it must have been back in the early 70s.
Did you hear about it?
Yes. There was a building, it was called the Embassy, I believe. And there was an explosion and it traveled up the elevator shaft and blew out the whole side of the building.
And now, is that why we don't...
It's a gas leak, I believe.
Right. Is that why we don't have gas in this building? Because I would love to cook on gas versus electricity.
Let me tell you, this whole neighborhood had been hit with asbestos. There was a coating of asbestos over the whole neighborhood.
Because of that blast?
Yes, and there was such controversy, and this neighborhood was so difficult to travel in. And
really?
Yeah. The whole neighborhood had to be scrubbed down and vacuumed for asbestos dust, which just blew all over the neighborhood.
Now, is that when Gramercy Park was sort of in the decline? You could get property cheap here because it was all covered with asbestos and the buildings were blowing up and people were nervous?
Let me tell you, I don't know if that's what began the decline, but when this building went co-op, first of all, it had been virtually a single-room occupancy SRO type of building.
The rooms
fluorescent bulbs in the hall, matted rugs. It just wasn't a place that anybody would really like to live. And a fellow named Clint Bloom came along, and he was the president of the board when the building went co-op, and he had a lot to do with turning it around, in my opinion. And he's since deceased, but he was the president for a while. There was a lot of controversy, and of course, you know, as nice as the building looked on the outside, I don't know what happened. You know, there were financial dealings, etc. So some people didn't like, and so he was voted off the board. But
he was voted off the board?
Yes, at some point, after being on the president for some time, or at least he voted off the presidency. But he was
Clint Bloom. Did he live here?
Yes, he did. He had one of the penthouses.
I think he died of cancer recently.
Not too long ago.
Yeah,
about a year.
And as a matter of fact, I met his son and his daughter.
Okay, I met his daughter, never met his son.
You met his daughter? I think they're in California.
Probable.
I think there was some litigation over that too, because all of a sudden it wound up in foreclosure and it got sort of snapped up.
That's possible.
That's so sad. He seemed like such a nice man.
He was an ex-Marine, and he was Marine, as a matter of fact, a Marine officer. I believe it might have been Korea. And
my husband's a Vietnam vet.
I'm Vietnam era. I was in the Army, 70 to 72.
Really?
But as a matter of fact, I had orders cut for Vietnam, but I lucked out, and at the last minute they transferred me to North Carolina.
Wow. Well, poor Joe, he had a gung-ho captain that wanted promotion, so he went on every single dangerous mission possible. And the boat, he was in the Navy. The boat. Well, no, it was a big boat. It was a destroyer, and it would. Well, actually, maybe he'll tell the story himself. But you wind up with post-traumatic stress. But at 17 years old, he said he grew up really fast. You know.
I was 19 when I went in.
19? Yeah.
Yes, and it was. I guess it was a turning point in my life. It was a watershed between childhood and adulthood.
Yeah.
Services like that.
But so now you're a plumber. That's great. So you really understand how to make things work.
Well,
Bertrand Russell said, in a healthy society, the plumbing works and the philosophy works.
Interesting. So the philosophy is like the plumbing of society?
What kind of? Is that you should have
the ideas are flowing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you were describing a rundown condition that then got rehabilitated.
And actually, I was involved in a lot of the original, or not the original, but the repair work when they were transitioning from tenancy to a co-op.
And the co-op would give them more money because the maintenance was higher, so they could do nicer things for the building?
Well, I think that's part of it. I mean, there was a lot of money was spent to upgrade the building, but to this day, I mean, those apartments. I was actually offered an apartment in this building for $25,000,
Really?
And at the time, I looked at it and thought, the parking's so bad in this neighborhood, and I just wanted to get out of New York. This was a period when, you saw cars burning on the side of the road.
Yeah, I heard it was a bad time.
Yeah, it was, and I just wanted to get out of New York, so I didn't see coming downtown New York as a major
attraction.
Forward move for me.
I see.
So we moved up to Putnam County, and while we were up there, New York City improved dramatically. That was the years of Giuliani, who I know he's controversial, but I thought he really turned the city around, because before that it was in really poor condition. But
well, the problem now is that real New Yorkers can't afford to live here. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So it's great to have a place look nice and spiffy, but it's nice to take the people along with it too, because they create the culture.
Well, yes.
You know, like you're helping me understand the culture and the history of a building I've lived in for 10 years.
Yeah.
You weren't born in the building.
No, not in this building, no.
Yeah. I mean, I heard Steinway lived here in this building, the Steinway pianos.
No, I don't know that. I know that the building was once high-end, and then it went through rough times, but then it was resurrected back in the, I guess, the 90s.
They took bigger apartments and chopped them up into smaller ones to...
As far as I know, but that goes a little bit further into the history.
But when they offered you a place for $25,000, was it because they wanted a permanent super?
No. It was kind of you might call it insider information. It wasn't insider information really. It was just that Clint said, "Hey Ken, this building is gonna." I mean, he seemed to be prescient in that way. He said, "This building is gonna take off someday." He loved the building, didn't he? He did. And
yeah, that's fine. Oh, I don't know what that is.
I just love the culture here. But go on. So
he recommended I buy, and he was in real estate, so I guess he saw what was coming, and I declined, and now that same apartment's probably worth $400,000.
The same apartment? No, I think that's a low end.
Okay.
Yeah. But he must have liked you. He must have
we got along pretty well.
He thought you'd be a good neighbor.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah, we did get along pretty well.
Any word for Manhattan public access that you'd like to share with your?
Well, I guess if my income and my whole career wasn't based here, I would leave New York City. I think the heart is
gone.
The heart of the city that I grew up with is long gone. And
really?
Some people might like the direction that New York is going, but as a native, and I've been here 60 years. I was born here, and I'm 60 now. I've seen a lot of change. I've seen it high, I've seen it low, and it seems to be holding its own in these economically hard times. But I just don't like. It just doesn't feel.
Really?
Yeah. It doesn't
so
feel
now,
personal.
on one hand, you said Giuliani sort of spiffed it up, but at the same time, when do you think the heart of New York was lost?
Oh, I think Bloomberg. My opinion, Bloomberg treats New Yorkers as not as citizens of a place, but as clients, and so we have to buy all our services. We have to buy everything. We're like people walking in his store. New York City is his store, and we have to come in and buy a la carte.
I think I'll take your analogy a step farther. I feel like we're employees in his store to entertain the clients who are the tourists.
That's
because the tourists are the only one who have the money.
Yeah.
And I used to travel a lot in other countries, and my dollar was so powerful.
Yes.
And I felt I was taking advantage of the difference of the exchange. So I spent 4 years in India, and I visited the temples, and I went into Kashmir, and I could do all of that because the dollar was so powerful.
Yes.
Now I come back to my own home,
yes,
and I'm seeing me be just like the people that I felt I had an advantage over.
Yeah.
And I also find we still do have a culture here, and they do come not for the shiny things, because they want a piece of what New York really is, which I think is people like you and me.
But are you a native New Yorker?
No, I'm from Berkeley, California. But you've been there?
No, but
You heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Well, you're the right age. Were you in Woodstock?
No, but a friend of mine was.
Yeah?
Yes.
Did he like it?
And we didn't know how big it was at the time. Even we didn't. I mean, I heard about it beforehand. I had a chance to go, and I.
Would you, if you knew, would you have gone? Did you like music? Did you?
I love music. I still enjoy music of that era. Although I'm not buried in the past. I'm not a nostalgic person really. So I don't look at the good old days.
Right.
I still look forward to things. But I'm decidedly not a. Not that I'm not a free thinker. I kind of like to think of myself as somewhat free, but society kind of went wild back then, and I could see that, in my opinion, that society was going to take an awful hit from that wide open, free thinking.
So you were never a hippie. You never smoked marijuana or took LSD.
Well, I'll tell you what. Well, I can't. I won't go over all of that experience. Although I'll tell you what. Had if I had the choice now, knowing what I did, to either never do any drugs or to do what I did, I would have opted not to. I don't think it helped me any. I think it probably set me back some.
How do you think it set you back?
Well,
because we think people were freer then. They were having fun. They were exploring. It wasn't a bunch of orgies. Free love was about free to love.
Yeah. Well, but not everybody.
Ken?
Hey, long time no see.
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
You too.
Is that someone in the building?
What's that?
Somebody who lives in the building that you know?
Yes, one of my happy clients. Satisfied.
I bet they all are.
In general, but you know what? I'm gonna have a dissatisfied client if I don't do what I have to do.
Thank you.
It was nice talking to you.
I need your phone closer, maybe via video. Thank you. Brooke, you can release him. Thank you. Alright, here we go. Roll camera.
Rolling.
Background action. And action. And release. Recovery, please.
Ready?
Back to lunch. Okay.
So folks, I'm sorry, I know this is probably your residence, but we see here. So when we shoot, can I just have you move over here, please, ma'am? Thank you.
45 seconds for this.
Would you mind? I'm sorry.
I'm in my building. I live here.
I don't think so.
That's it, your hot sauce is done.
The tap is too open here. We should close it a little bit.
He went and talked to somebody, came back, but didn't say anything. So do they know that I'm with public access television? I don't know. Maybe they say, oh, don't, bother with the crazy lady over there. Who knows?
They're pretty pushy. They just tell people move, 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 move.
He told me to move, and I said, I live here.
No, I'm not moving anymore. 3 times they've moved me, and they're not really even polite.
Yeah, I know. Because they pay for us. They paid New York. There's a lot of really nice people. But there's a couple others who operate under color of law. My question is, who's paying for the police? And to whom do the police owe their loyalty?
Fire watch.
I'm a public access producer.
Are you?
You're going to be on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. What would you like to tell us? We're residents in this building.
We love your neighborhood. We're shooting a Talbot's commercial. If you wouldn't mind, if you could just step.
We would mind.
We would. You know what?
Okay.
They've moved me 3 or 4 times. I'm tired
okay.
of being moved in my own neighborhood.
Sure, I understand. You have the right to be at your place. I understand entirely. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, thank you.
The belligerent claimant. I knew that they had asked about us.
Yeah, you know.
He must be the top guy.
Yeah, he said he was the director.
But he backed off because the truth is they're paying for the privilege of taking people's right of way, but they're probably not paying the people. It's some privately held corporation. So they're probably going to have to they'll have to reshoot. He's telling them to have to work around them. Can you see that, or I'm the only one seeing that?
Well, you know.
They don't want us to move. They don't want us in the shot. But it is our building.
But you know, they moved me 3 times. You know, I tried to stay out of the shot the first 3 times, but after a while, move me here, move me there. I'm not into moving anymore. You know, 3 times I moved. 4th building.
I need it.
What's that?
I know you live in this building, but I'm just saying, if you could kindly just move aside, just to help them out.
You know, we're not getting any money from this.
And
nobody's paying us.
I understand.
So we're
it's just a courtesy, just asking.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The answer's no.
The answer's no? All
yeah,
right.
thank you.
They've moved me 3 or 4 times. I'm tired of being moved in my own neighborhood.
Sure, I understand. You have the right to be at your place. I understand entirely. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, thank you.
The belligerent claimant.